Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode number 80. Hello, a croesawu podcast chief Oithdig. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans. Joining me today is Mr. Henry. I'm off on a Jolly Cooper.
Can't wait. After this is finished, I'm gone, fucking out of here.
You're packing up and you're getting out.
I've had
you're running
enough. Away. Well, we're not technically breaking any rules yet. I mean, about like lockdowns or anything, because the area we're in technically isn't locked down yet, and the area we're going to technically isn't. So we should be all good, but no illegal crossing borders or nothing like that. It's not particularly exciting. We're not flying anywhere. We're just For any Americans who don't know what it is, we're going to a place called the Lake District, and it's basically a very pretty part of the world. There's just a fuck ton of lakes and mountains and shit. It's great. It's awesome. Last time I went there was with school on a geography trip, and I spent the entire time standing in rivers. So,
well, that sounds interesting. We won't analyse that one, Henry. But just as a bit of a public service announcement, that the channel will be back in due course once Henry has his break and you know gets back to the grind, as it were.
So my first holiday in like 3 years.
If there's no content for the next week, Henry's earned it, for God's sake. Chill out, calm down, he'll be back. God, just calm down. Stop commenting already. God's sake. Anyway, the podcast is now available on Spotify and on Apple iTunes. I fixed this, so in the description now you should have the link. So if you can't be arsed looking at our faces, or if you're on a commute somewhere, even though it is kind of locked down everywhere, and you just want to listen to us, you just want to do the dishes and have us in your ears instead of in your faces, you can do that. Handy links in the description of this video. Go and check them out, as well as links to the other sites which we post to, them being Odyssey and Utreon, because YouTube is broken and YouTube is not ideal for creators like us. So we are posting on the regular to both of those platforms now. So go and check us out on those platforms. We really appreciate the support. And with that said, we've got a bill of stuff to discuss. And first of which is that actually just big corporations doing shit things, and they're seeing consequences. That's the theme of today's show, I guess. So let's kick it off with EA sued in Canada. EA being sued. I think is it by two people about some loot boxes or something, Henry?
Yeah, I was going to say you've got three guesses as what it's about, and I mean you got it right there. It's fucking loot boxes. It's EA. It's what they do. So it's a class action lawsuit. So it means that someone like puts it forward, and then other people can join in and be like, yeah, that is bullshit. We've had the same problem or whatever, and then everyone gets the payout if they win at the end. So if EA had to give out like 2 million, that would be 2 million shared among potentially just two people, or potentially thousands of people. So you don't get as much of a thing. So it's two Canadian blokes, one called Mark Sutherland and one called Sean Moore, and they're basically just having a go at EA because of loot boxes, and they're claiming that they're gambling, which, I mean, we all know it's what they fucking are. Loot boxes are gambling. Yeah. And the way they're trying to get around it, they're trying to catch them for it, is because you need to have a license for gambling. I'm pretty sure you do in like every country, but these two have been specifically attacking EA and in Canada, because they're in Canada. One's in British Columbia, one's in Ontario. And they're saying that they're gambling and they're not allowed to because they don't have a license. So essentially, if this goes through, EA would have to either stop doing that or get a license. But then by getting a license, they would have to admit that it is gambling in all of their games, and then have to raise the age limit, because obviously underage people aren't allowed to gamble. So the quote.
What's the situation of it just now? Have they filed the paperwork? Is it just been caught by the news before they're filing it?
So it's just been, I don't know the word, like sent. They've just been put together and then given to the legal.
Served.
Yeah, basically. It's been put into the legal system. Well, the thing is, though, it's not just these two blokes, tin hat guys with too much time on their hands. So they're like, oh, we're going to take on EA. We're going to fight the man. But it's a proper little case. They've got a real lawyer from supposedly a reputable
it costs so much money.
place. Oh yeah, it's going to cost a lot.
It costs so much money. They can't just speculate and be like, oh, we'll just throw this court case around. They've got to be pretty certain they're going to win.
Oh, 2020's been pretty boring. We've been locked down all the time, so let's just do a court case.
Let's just do a big corporation, innit?
I mean, it's all in a day's work, really.
And I like the fact that they're obviously confident they're going to win by actually filing it. So it's good. Like this is good. At least, get some headlines at the very least.
Yeah, and especially because it's a proper law firm in British Columbia, in Canada. It's not just some rando company who's firm that's just popped up and they've got no success rate with their cases. It's the real deal. They're taking it quite seriously. And over 60 games are included in the case because EA punch out so much stuff, and not all of them do feature loot boxes or any sort of monetization really, but they're all kind of brought in the umbrella. So that's stuff like Madden, FIFA, NHL, NBA Live, which I don't even think exists anymore, Mass Effect, Need for Speed, Plants vs. Zombies, the Battlefield series, and Apex Legends. But one thing that is kind of odd, which the article, the news outlet I took this from pointed out, is that Battlefront 2 isn't mentioned, which is kind of it's the one, when you're talking about EA and loot boxes. So that's just kind of odd. Doesn't seem to be any real. Well, that was the one that kicked off the whole
hoorah about the EA. It was Battlefront 2 that it was prior to launch, and didn't they like fix it before it actually launched, so that it didn't actually.
They pulled out all of the loot boxes, but then that broke the progression because the progression was tied to you paying for the loot boxes, so it just didn't work at all. So
that's a bit weird. The fact that this whole loot box kind of groundswell of negativity was caused by Battlefront 2, and it's not even mentioned in this, like you said.
I mean, it doesn't give any reason for its absence. It's not like, this one's exempt because of X, Y, Z, because maybe you could argue that, because they've fixed, now they have fixed it, they have changed the game, and it is actually a fairly decent Star Wars shooter, but even then, it's just kind of an odd omission, especially given the rest of the games that are in there, like Plants vs. Zombies. I'm not very familiar with Plants vs. Zombies, but it's quite like a kid-friendly sort of game. You wouldn't, this is EA after all, but you wouldn't think that sort of thing would have such glaring overt monetization. But again, that's a very surface-level naive thing to say about EA, isn't it?
That's it. I mean, and this is the situation, right? I mean, to think of the possibility, if this goes through, and I know it's very unlikely because EA have got the lawyers and they've got their defense and all that. There's some sort of agreement usually happens with these big big cases anyway. But if all the claims succeed, right, then EA could be forced to pay back everything it's made from loot boxes since 2008, and that is a lot of damn money. We are talking in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. That's if everything succeeds, which is very unlikely. But that's a lot. There's a lot at stake here, right? They've got to get their lawyers ready. God Almighty.
There's just, I love stuff like this because it's two guys and the proper legal representation, but it's two guys being like, this is bullshit. Let's do something about it. Let's pull together any old money we can find. Realistically, it's probably, because it is only two blokes, I would imagine it's got to be one of those, what's the word? Like pro rata, no win, no fee type things. But then again, maybe that's a wrong assumption, but surely because it's so expensive, you'd have to go with one of those types of firms or take that kind of a deal with them. I don't know. But because no matter what happens, EA will probably be fine. EA will probably win because they have so much money. They can get the best corporate lawyers in the world to make sure that the fine print is kind of adhered to and little loopholes and this and that. But then even if they do lose, they can just throw all the money at the situation and make it go away. They'll get bad press for 5 minutes, but they've had so much bad press, they surely don't even care anymore. There's
so much riding on this. Obviously, they're going to have to throw a lot of resources behind this because you're talking hundreds of millions, if not billions, of money, which will have to get paid back. And by the way, if you have bought loot boxes over that time, paid money into that economy, you might stand to get some money back yourself. I mean, I don't know how many people who watch our content actually buy these bloody things, but there might be. I've just read here the claim was filed on September the 30th, and so they've got EA have got 3 weeks to file a response.
So
that was yesterday.
Yeah, that should have been now. Yeah, they should have to respond. And the response in kind of all that will be is, we refute all of this. We'll see you in court type thing.
We'll refute all of this. We'll get back to you with just another response by such and such date. That's generally what happens in my experience. It's like, we don't accept your date. We'll respond to you in our own time.
Yeah. And
that's usually what happens.
These lawyers will be like, your time's not good enough. You'll have to respond in this, that. So it'll take a million years for anything to actually start happening. And that's it, if it even makes it to court or anything like that.
Yeah, that's it. There's definitely... I mean, the onus is on them to prove that that it is actually gambling, because, I mean, gambling usually this is we're recovering old ground again about this old gambling in games debate. It's whether you get anything from, like, it's whether you potentially gain money or gain some sort of, not money specifically, but gain a prize for,
like, a tangible
the money. Yeah. And then that's what it'll always come down to. It's like, well, the naysayers will be like, well, is buying a pack of cards from the shop gambling because we get cards? And it's like, is it the same though? Especially in things like FIFA Ultimate Team, where you're building up, it's gameplay altering. I don't know. There's definitely an onus on the plaintiffs to prove that it is gambling, because the law's clear. Gambling isn't allowed. If they can make the case that this is gambling, which to my knowledge is is very difficult to do, then this will go through. I don't have a lot of hope. Let's be honest.
No,
hope
not a lot.
Has died, but let's, at the very least, let's entertain the idea that it goes through and you have to pay out billions of dollars. So let's live in our little fantasy bubbles for now.
Yeah, realistically, if it all comes down to what Canada's specific definition of gambling is for Canada, because it varies slightly everywhere, because it could just be you're allowed to keep them in if you disclose odds, you're allowed to keep them in if you create a way for people to, like, cash out so that any money they put in to buy packs they can then get back. That's one of the stipulation often. But yeah, as you say, I don't have much hope, but at least they're trying, man. At least they're going for it. What's the name? Sutherland and Moore.
The problem is that they make so much money off this yearly, right? That even the thought of little court cases like this aren't enough to dissuade them from using gambling mechanics in future. Because they've made billions over the last few years, let's be honest. Billions of dollars. And we're talking the size of this company, the amount of money that they make off FIFA Ultimate Team just alone is staggering. It's unbelievably large, right? We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars every quarter. And for them to even consider not doing that in future, the threat of this has to be very real. And it'd have to be multiple territories. It'd have to be, like, realistic, big payouts for a lot of people threatened, and almost guaranteed to have to pay all that money back. Even with all that threatening them, they'll probably still go ahead, because they'll probably come out on top in the long run for all the countries that don't end up suing them. And having to pay the money back. I don't know. It's so fucked up. Money talks, right? Money is power, and that's the problem with this situation, is that they've got so much power now because they've got all the money, because they've fleeced people for so many years that they can just pretty much do what they like until the law kind of says otherwise.
And the thing is, your big executives like your Andrew Wilson types and people at kind of his level, they're not going to fucking see this. This will maybe be a letter that ends up in their general post for the day-to-day. Their secretary will open it and be like, right, hoof that to legal. It's not going to matter to any of the executives at all. They're not going to see it. They're busy doing their business meetings and smoking cigars and fucking hookers and whatever these big executives do. They don't lead normal lives like us peasants.
That's it. It's just figuring out the next scam, basically. They're just trying to figure out how to scam people in different ways, and that's what will happen, even if they take out loot boxes. But anyway, that's the situation as is. And let's move on to another big corporation who've been really shady and got the hands caught in the cookie jar, and have literally. I mean, you covered it in the daily yesterday, but I just wanted to talk about it because it's so fucking funny. NBA 2K21 with these unskippable ads. Now, there was a video earlier in the week where you mentioned that it was a thing now, and their response, I'll just read it out for those of you who missed it in the update one. As many are aware, this is a tweet from NBA 2K21 official Twitter account and addressed to the 2K community. As many are aware, in recent years, ads have been integrated into 2K TV segments. Yesterday's 2K TV ad placement impacted our players' experience in a way we didn't intend, as these ads are not meant to run as part of the pre-game introduction. This will be fixed in future episodes. Thanks for your continued feedback. Right, what this says to me is, yes, we are fleecing you. Yes, we're making you pay for the $60 game. And yes, we're monetizing it additionally with ads in there, but not quite in the way we intended.
Yeah, it's not an apology.
That's all it says. It doesn't say sorry. No. Sorry for being a shitty company, for taking your money and then making more money, basically making your game a place where we can generate more money off you by playing it, by scamming you essentially. I mean, they're not explaining any of that. They're not legitimizing any of that. They just this is how it is. We scam you on the daily, right? We scam you on the daily. The way we scammed you in this instance wasn't the way we were meant to scam you. So we will fix the way we scam you in future. Thanks for your feedback. That's essentially what they're saying.
It's not we're going to remove the ads. It's not we're going to do better. We're sorry. We value your time and your money. None of them. Not even trying with that shit.
It's so comical. It's comically bad, man. It's hilarious.
It's like shooting someone in the leg and saying, sorry, I aimed for the chest. Like, I still shot you nonetheless.
Yeah. It's laughable, and it just shows the sheer arrogance of these companies, the way that they can just they haven't addressed the core grievance, which is there are fucking ads in this game we paid for. They haven't addressed that at all. They've just gone, we didn't implement this the way, and it's impacted our players' experience in a way we didn't intend. Well, you still intended to impact your players' experience, and you have done for years. I mean, just because it wasn't in the specific way you intended doesn't mean that it'll be right once you fix the way for it to be the way you intended. The way you intended isn't what's at issue. This isn't even an apology. This is just an explanation of how I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what this fucking thing is.
It's
ridiculous.
Non-committal statement to anything. But then with all this stuff, there's always people sort of defending it or justifying it, being like, oh, it's not that bad because it's only like 30 seconds long or whatever. And I think that's another one on this case. Everyone's annoyed because they've done it again and again and again. They keep putting ads in and everyone gets more and more annoyed. But in comparison to some of the other ad runs they've put in the NBA games, like I think 2019s or 2020s were way longer, and this one by comparison doesn't look as bad. So you could be like, oh, see, it's only 30 seconds of my life rather than a whole minute. Like, what are you complaining about? But that's the fucking attitude which allows this sort of stuff to continue. The point is, you shouldn't have to sit through ads that are unskippable and you gain nothing from doing it. It's just there. It's there. You're being advertised stuff which you didn't ask for. You didn't well, technically you did consent to it if you agreed to their terms.
You've already paid for,
that they're soon going to be charging $70 for. $60, a lot of money. Fuck knows how much it is in the UK at the moment, because I think that they're still kind of fluctuating a bit. But $70 is going to be the new standard for, at the very least, these games.
A couple of things, right? The main problem is that it just shows how greedy they are. Like, regardless of how they go about monetizing it, right? You want a company that you're supporting by spending your money with to be ethical. This is not ethical. This is in no way is this ethical. In charging you a product and then forcing you, making money off you additionally. It's like that. What they're saying by doing this is that this game is worth a lot more than your $60. This game is worth like $100 to us. but we're going to make you pay $60 and we'll make that $40 back, extra $40 back by showing you ads and getting money from other people for that. Is this game hell worth $100 or whatever they value it at? That's what they're saying, and that's an insult to you as a consumer. That's completely derogatory to you, and they're laughing at you all the way to the bank, all the way to their Cuban cigars on yachts, hooker parties. Yep. That's what they're doing, and to sit there and say, oh well, it doesn't affect my gameplay, it's fine. You are the dumb shit.
You're being taken for a fool.
You're an absolute mug. You are. You're a complete mug, and you should like really think about what your life choices have led you to this situation.
Sit on the naughty seat and think about what you've done.
Because you will be mugged off the rest of your life if you're happy with this situation. You're allowing someone to literally take advantage of you. And not even think, oh, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's fine. If it doesn't bother you, you're a mug. You're an absolute mug. That's the first problem. The second problem is, what happens next generation when you're playing on a PS5 and it loads within 3 seconds, but you've still... Because the SSD is so fast, you still got 20 seconds of ads to it doesn't affect me because I'm only waiting 20 seconds. Everyone else is already playing the bloody game. It doesn't affect me. Meh. What they're going to do then? These companies don't like the fact that the game's going to load so much quicker for the next generation. I wonder how much longer their build times will be just to accommodate their ads. This is how these games get affected, because they're not thinking now about user experience. They're thinking about how much money they can make. This is why greed is bad. This is why we shouldn't defend it. This is why we shouldn't just ignore it. Because our games are all being affected all the time, and you're just taking it, you're bending over and taking it up the shitter. So be it. You can do that. We're not going to do that. Sorry, I'm on my fucking pedestal. This is weeks of pent-up frustration. This is coming out on these big corporations. God.
They fucking deserve it.
Feels good.
Thing is, everyone hate, well, not everyone evidently, but I'm sure most of us watching the channel, most of you, will agree microtransactions are fucking shitty. But even that is more justifiable than this fucking ad, because at least when you pay for something in a Call of Duty, you actually get something. You're contributing to that monetization thing, but you actually get something out of it. You get nothing out of this. They're putting an ad in front of you, and you gain nothing, except you're paying for them to make money and getting nothing, because you're paying for the game, you're paying for the ad space, and they will make fucking loads of money. Ad space like that will be insane. Like any company will pay loads to what was the ad? Oculus will probably have made a butt ton of money, even if it was only in there for like a short period of time, and they've changed it now, so it's probably like it's even more limited, but they will still have made loads of money from it.
Well, those Amazon marketing dollars that came in for the boys in the last, they were marketing the boys in game. Like Amazon are a huge company with a huge marketing budget. They must have taken loads of money.
Exactly,
from that agreement.
EA is going to get loads of money from Amazon, just like 2K is going to get loads of money from Oculus. Well, Facebook, technically. Well,
big corporations.
Facebook
pushing
fucking love their ads. They know what they're doing when it comes to the ad game. They've got experience with it.
All right. Okay, so that's that situation, and that's how we feel about that. So we are going to move on next to the community section. We haven't got much else to discuss in here. The only other thing would be like what we've been playing this week. And briefly, I've been playing Return of the Obra Dinn on the Switch. I haven't really played that much. I'm going to be playing that over the next week or so. Just to see. I'm not really connecting with it right now, and I don't think I'll be doing it justice unless I properly experience it to see, because it got nominated as like Game of the Year or something.
Yeah, it's very well reviewed.
Very highly received, and I'm just not feeling it. So I'm going to stave off on my thoughts and impressions on that, and why I'm specifically not feeling that until I give it a good, because out of respect for everyone else who likes it, really. I want to give it a good go before I crystallize what I'm not liking. So that's what I've been playing this week, Henry. And how about yourself? Are you still on Hades?
I've been playing Hades a little bit, just more casually though, because I've beaten it I think 4 times now, and I know you have to beat it more times to get for the credits to roll, basically, to actually finish it. But I'm taking it a bit more easily now. relaxing a bit more. Been playing a bit of Red Dead 2, just because I fancied knocking about
Sweet.
on as a cowboy. To be honest, I started another playthrough I think earlier in the year when there was a bit of a gap, a bit of a lull. So I continued with that. Just got back after mild spoiler alert. Just got back after you're shipwrecked, and you end up on that island for like a bunch of missions, and it's really fucking slow.
That's the whole game to me.
Yeah.
Really
just got past that. So I'm enjoying like role playing it as a cowboy. But for yesterday, and it would be going through into this weekend, but I'm going away, so I can't. I'm playing something that I'm not allowed to tell anyone about, and I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but I am anyway. So keep it under your hat.
Yeah.
It's a secret
there you go. Henry's playing a top secret game, and you're not allowed to know that he's playing the top secret game, but you do now, so keep it a secret. There you go. So that's it. Let's move on to the community section now. And obviously, we're going to be taking questions in just a second. But I always like to thank everybody for everyone who signed up this week to support us. And you can support us, by the way, over on patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and on the memberships button down below on YouTube, because your support really does help us out. You get early access to the podcast. You get to access to the members only section of our Discord. The public area is available for everyone. There's a link down in the description if you want that. And you get to ask us questions for the podcast. So those are your benefits for signing up and becoming a member. And the main benefit of all is knowing that you're supporting us bringing this content in future, because of how AdSense works on YouTube and how unfavored we are by the algorithm. We make hardly any revenue from YouTube these days, and if it wasn't for the supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships, we simply could not operate anymore. So a huge thanks goes out to everybody. And let's just mention these couple of new signups. We've got Johans Bolmval. Hopefully that's how you say his name. He pledged $1 a month. Every single dollar helps. Every single time I say that, and it really does. If everyone who enjoyed our content could sign up for $1, we wouldn't have to ask anybody. We could turn the ads off on YouTube. So thanks very much, Johans, thanks very much, dude. And the other one is Mike Gibbons, who's pledged $1 as well. Mike Gibbons, thanks very much, dude. He's left a message on the Patreon, and he says, opened a Patreon account for you guys, really enjoy your channel, and you don't seem to get the same support as other channels I enjoy, so I decided I better support you guys so there's less chance you go away. And that's really appreciate that, Mike Gibbons. There is definitely less chance that we go away now that you've signed up. Like I said, even though it's $1 doesn't seem like a lot to support, every single dollar helps, so thanks everybody. And this is the point we normally jump into the Metal Shark quiz. However, Metal Shark is having a week off due to work commitments, so there's no quiz this week. I know, calm down, relax. He'll be back just like we will. Yes, we all love the quiz, but he's got work. So, the amount of effort he's put in, let's just forgive him. Let's move on to question number 1. Rage Andy Kid. I would like to ask, what would you think if Microsoft were to buy Steam? How do you think it would affect the gaming space?
So with this one, I've tacked on a picture which Rage Andy Kid commented afterwards, which is, I think he said it was relevant, and it's of a tweet of a guy called XGamerKid, or just Thomas as his handle, and is the next surprise not a studio, a surprise not as big as Bethesda, but will be more shocking. Sorry, it's really small to read. Steam games will run on Xbox Series X. Yesterday I was on a Zoom meeting with Phil Spencer and Gabe Newell. They said they've been working together for some time now. It was presented by Jeff Keighley. Maybe at the Game Awards we will have some news about it. So I've no idea who this person is. I couldn't verify if they are like an actual insider journalist person with actual sources or anything like that. But I mean, it's an interesting concept. What do you think if Microsoft was to buy Steam? I think it'd virtually change the landscape of gaming.
Well, then buying Steam is one thing. I don't see that happening, and it definitely would change the landscape of gaming. It would mean that they basically got a monopoly then on PC gaming, which is never good. As much as I like what Microsoft are doing, I don't like monopolies. I don't like them not being held to account by competitors. The fact that this tweet says a little bit different to that. I suppose not as big as Bethesda, but that would be more shocking. Steam games will run on Xbox Series X. If that's what they're considering, putting Steam games on Xbox Series X, that would be great. Let me just reset my camera here. Yeah, Steam games running on Xbox Series X seems to fit the MO of what Xbox and Microsoft are trying to do now. Is accessibility for all, and the fact that they've added EA games to the Game Pass recently.
Yeah, the EA Play thing.
This kind of falls in line with that strategy, which is offer more games on the already existing platforms rather than going out and buying Valve. That would be a big bill. But it's not, we've seen them buy Bethesda, and that was $7-8 billion bucks.
$7.5 billion, yeah.
Oh man, if they can do that, just right, we're buying you. We're going to buy it. $7 billion. Who cares? $8 billion. There you go. We're going to buy you.
Pocket change.
Just out of nowhere. That's unbelievable. Who knows? I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past them. I probably wouldn't like it, but there you go.
Yeah, I think any sort of connection between Microsoft and Steam, it could still be quite a number of things. I mean, we're kind of jumping to the conclusion that your entire Steam library and catalog will be playable on the Xbox Series X. That could well be the case, assuming that this does happen, which even then we don't fucking know. But it could just be your Steam account is on the Xbox, so you can share progression or something like that, or any game that you have on Steam, you also will be able to, like, Xbox compatible game is also playable on Xbox, like, for free. So if you own, let's say, a Ubisoft game, like an Assassin's Creed game or something like that on Steam, you'll get it for free on the Xbox, which would be great. That would be awesome, and it wouldn't be monopolistic. Monopolized?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. It definitely has a lot of implications for people who are like, well, I've got a PC, I'm probably going to buy a PS4 as well next generation to cover all my bases, and then I can play all the games. It probably appeals to them a bit more because, I've got a PC, I play my Steam games, but if I can sit on the couch and play my Steam games on my Xbox now too as an option, that gives them a huge incentive to buy that. I mean, it gives me another reason because I've got so many games on Steam. Obviously, it won't apply to the serious mouse and keyboard games, strategy games that you just couldn't play on a controller. But it would open up a whole bunch of new games that I could sit and play on my on a console, which I don't currently have because the games on Steam are just in a different class, I guess, to the games that you get on console. So I think it's a good thing if that happens.
Yeah. And Microsoft are chatting to everyone at the moment, so this is as likely as any of the other things. Like, they've been supposedly maybe put in Game Pass, something to do with Nintendo, perhaps, but we don't know. We won't know until one of the things is announced, but all cards are on the table.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, next question again from Ray John the Kid. Did you want to read it?
Yeah, okay. Also, another question. I do have this. You wake up in a zombie apocalypse. You need to set up a base of operation. Where and why? ... What is your main weapon of choice? And secondly, what two game characters would you have help you? Personally, I would pick the outskirts of a city with a height advantage both for scavenging and plenty of fields for growing food. Primary weapon, a blunt sword. Secondary, a hatchet. And two characters would be Leon S. Kennedy from Resident Evil and Jensen from Deus Ex, as one has experience and the other is good with stealth and scavenging. Okay, so zombie apocalypse, what weapons we having, where are we going, why are we going there, and we get two video game buddies to back us up.
My buddies are easy, right? My buddies would be Joel and probably Kratos from God of War. They're two badasses. Joel's got experience in zombie apocalypse. He knows what he's doing. Kratos just doesn't give a fuck, man. He'll fuck them all up. And in terms of weapons, I want something big that's going to clear out. So if I'm faced with a horde, I can just so it's got to be like some sort of like Fat Man from the Fallout series or something. And then just like an automatic rifle, so I can just like. Or SMG or something, just to silenced. One of those silenced, so I can get about and not draw too much of attention. And yeah, it has to be a place on top of a hill, like a castle, an ancient castle. I want a castle, Denby Castle. Let's fix Denby Castle up, and we'll go to Denby Castle, and I'll be holed up there with Joel and Kratos, with my Fat Man and my silenced SMG. I'm good.
It's a very very respectable answer. Joel is a potential for me. My only reservation for it would be, well, he's incredibly loyal. But if things go wrong, he could very easily kill me. Like he's a very angry man. There's a lot of baggage there. There could, like, if things go wrong in the group, I mean, like he could be loyal to me. But what if we get someone who, like, I want them to come to join us because they're cool and we need to help them. But he's like, no, fuck them. There could be some friction there because he's so strong-willed and focused and single-minded. So
yeah, but he'll do what needs to be done though to protect his group.
But that is true. But also my second
that
choice
includes you.
Yeah, but my other choice of person who I just would want to hang out with in any time I'll do X with a video game person. It's this person. It's Dante from Devil May Cry because he's powerful as fuck. He's got all the weapons. He's got one massive sword and then a bunch of other ones depending on what game you're in. Loads of guns, namely his 2 pistols. They're solid. He's badass. And he's just a laugh. He's always down for a pizza. I would assume pizza's in short supply in the apocalypse, but you know, we could figure something out, you know. So definitely Dante. Joel is really good, and the experience thing is second to none. He's willing to do what needs to be done. I'll bring Joel with me as well. Weapon wise, I never want anything sharp because sharp's more likely to get stuck. I feel like you want blunt for, like, I want a melee weapon on me, maybe. Kratos' axe or Mjolnir. I'll have Mjolnir from Thor, and I like the silenced SMG idea. I like that. I think that's pretty decent because it's silenced, so you can be stealthy, but also you've got a quite rapid fire thing. Location, I quite like Chester as a location. That's where I am because in the city there's walls.
It has walls, yeah.
Big proper old school Roman walls, so that's pretty solid. Although it's quite a large area, so you could. The disadvantage with that is
you need more than 2.
Yeah,
we need more than 2 helpers.
Yeah, but we have Dante, so I could just be like, "Yo, homie, do what you do, wreck shit," and he'll just be like, "Let's go," and kill everyone in no time. It'd be sweet, and I'll just throw him a slice of pizza afterwards.
There you go.
My very first stop, though, in reality, though, if I don't get any of this, my first stop in a zombie apocalypse is go to a museum and get chainmail. Because you can wear that, no fucking set of teeth is getting through that. It's slightly lighter than something like big well, it's still not light, don't get me wrong, like it's still hefty, but chainmail, you can do what you want. And then like an axe or a mace. I don't think a sword would be very good. But yeah.
No, I agree. Good question though, great question. In fact, thanks for the question. Let's move on to Cloney's first question of the week. So, Marvel is doing a sword fighting game as a comic plot right now. So far, 3 X-Men had to get a sword to prevent the world from ending. I could easily come up with 10 plots that are more amazing and better fit for dungeon crawling RPG or even fighting game than Marvel's Avengers story. So the question is, what storyline out of any franchise would you like to see realized in a game? The game can range from a short 4-hour gimmick game that scratches that one itch like Star Wars Squadrons seems to shape up to be, or a full-on 60-hour experience like Lord of the Rings game. Also, if you're not reading the current X-Men run, you're missing out. House of X, Powers of X, Dawn of X, X of Swords, this is too cool. X of X, XXX, and the rest, I just made them last 2 up.
My answer for if you could make a game out of a franchise, what would it be? It's 9 times out of 10, it's just always Star Wars. Because there's a lot of really good Star Wars games, there's a lot of really crap ones, but I'm still waiting for the one to really scratch the itch I'm looking for. Jedi Fallen Order came a little bit close, Force Unleashed came a little bit close, the original Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 came a little bit close, Star Wars Rogue Squadron came very, very close. That's my favourite Star Wars game. But I think something similar to The Mandalorian in that it's set in the arsehole of the galaxy. No one goes there, bunch of new planets, new people, and you're just like a bounty hunter or something like that, some sort of scoundrel smuggler. And I think with a similar setup to The Mandalorian in that the story of The Mandalorian is protect the baby, the child, the baby Yoda, basically. And I like having such really simple core premises like that. So the smuggling thing could be, get this shipment from this planet to that planet, and then you weave in all these different characters and this, that, and the other, but like a bottle-focused thing, and it's just another day in this bounty hunter's life in the arsehole of the galaxy. Like, Tatooine is a shithole, all those sort of planets. So I think that'd be great, and I feel like it should be quite easy. It should be quite, like, it should just fall in place, and The Mandalorian's pretty much structured like a video game anyway, in terms of like how his quest progresses and he gets new armor, like he levels up and whatnot. So yeah,
definitely a good call. I think my response to that would be, I want a really good Game of Thrones game, and the period of storyline I would set it in would be the Clash of Kings, where just after the it's not, just after shit happens in the first series of the show, when there's a lot of turbulence in the realm. Let's just leave it at that. For those of you who are watching and not watched it, don't want to spoil, whatever. You know what I'm talking about, for those of you who have watched it. And yeah, again, not so much like you're Robb Stark or someone, or Jon Snow. You're someone who like has to go. You're a go between from like. Yeah, maybe you're a middleman who has to deal with all the shit and the arse end of the people, as well as the nobility and that. You've got to carve your way. You play as a single person rather than a proper RPG, proper kind of Skyrim type of RPG, but in a you've got to go to battles, and then you might turncoat and then go fight with the Lannisters and whatever. Bit of a sandbox RPG. It would be cool. It was really cool. That's what I'd want. But nobody wants to make that, so fuck them.
It's probably really expensive to get the Game of Thrones IP, I would imagine. But we'll get a game of it eventually, and probably. Well, we've had the Telltale one, but that's a Telltale game.
Let's not talk about them. Let's move on. Thanks for the question, Cloney.
We've
the next
got
question.
Another one from Cloney. I'm so sorry I misgendered Henry as a Zelda fanboy. However, you are still an evil person for not OCDing every single pot in Hades. How dare you, you peasant? So, my question this week, and you've already had a question this week, so you have another one. What essential item started your pot smashing OCD? I played Pokemon Gold when I was 7 years old, learned to read with that stuff, and learned there were invisible items. Cue little me walking around the same patch of Route 2 for 10 hours trying to remember if I pressed A in that corner of the map already. Okay, so what game or item started our pot smashing OCD, or like checking every corner and all of that sort of stuff? Pokemon's a good one. I remember playing Pokemon Red on the Game Boy, and I remember like when you walk through the grass, obviously you get an encounter, a wild Pokemon springs up, but I'd always like snake around every conceivable space, getting as much, fighting as many Pokemon as I can to try and catch cool stuff, or to just grind some levels. I remember it's probably the first game I really like grinded like that. Thinking about it, I wouldn't necessarily say that's pot smashing, but it's that kind of OCD of covering every inch of the grass space to be able to catch as much as you can and fight as much as you can.
I can't think of. I mean, it's the problem for me is that I played so many games back in the day. We're talking 20 odd years ago now when I started gaming. So you're talking in the realms of far too long for me to remember. So I can't think about it. Obviously, the Zelda franchise is the obvious one because you get rewarded with coins. You smash, you cut the grass, you get coins. You got to cut all that grass, man. Got to cut all that fucking grass. So Link's Awakening, I guess, would be that then. Yeah, I can go with that. That's early enough. That's in the same realm. I'm thinking of other games like did Prince of Persia, the original Amiga version of Prince of Persia, have pot smashing? I can't remember. That's just a yeah, like I said, I can't even remember that far back, man. You're testing the grey matter now, the grey cells. So yeah, sorry, that's as good as I can get. Thanks for the two questions though, Cloney. I think we've got another one coming up in just a second. But first up, Angry Hobbit's second question of the week. Is it? No.
No, it's his first.
It's first. Sorry, my apologies. Angry Hobbit says, with Cyberpunk being merely weeks away, I've jumped into the YouTube content from CDPR Night City Wire. Although I wanted to avoid all this additional content, I'm bored as fuck waiting for the pressure test on this heating system to elapse. Yep, still here now. So my question: have you guys got into this additional content at all, and which life path do you think you're going to jump into? I'm kind of split between Street Kid and Corpo. I feel it's supposed to be quite gritty game, and the Street Kid feels the right way to me, but intrigued as to what the power of being Corpo could bring. And then I really hope this is going to be a game that I can sink into for hours. These types of games are very rare for me in the recent years. Ideally, I do play 3 playthroughs with Nomad being third. Either way, I've not used any of my annual leave this year, so having a day to receive my Xbox Series X and possibly the entire week that Cyberpunk releases. God, I remember the day booking time off to to play games. That was the day when you have no responsibilities, no wife, no kids, no bills to pay. You can just book the day off and have the whole day to play games, man. That's the life.
I don't know if I've ever booked time off to play a game, but I remember I got Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1 when I was a kid, and faked being ill to my mum so I could play it, and it was one of my most Academy Award worthy performances to pull that one off. And then she gets home from work at like 5, and I'm sitting there just like still in my pajamas just playing the game. She's like, I thought you were supposed to be ill. I'm like, I'm sick.
Doesn't mean I don't. I want to be bored all day.
I got something to do, man.
God Almighty. So yeah, Nightwire. I think you've covered it on the triple, haven't you?
I think I've done all of them so far. I think there's been 4. They're always about, like, in case you don't know, they're little snapshots of different parts of the world. So they did one about like the weapons, and they always speak to some developers as well. A bit about the weapons, some about the vehicles. I think was the most recent one, with a little bit of like the fashion, some about the gangs of the world, all that sort of stuff, like little interesting tidbits. So I think I've watched all of them. I think they're great. I think it's a really good way to keep people engaged in the game, especially because it's so big and there's so much to talk about. But in terms of who I'm going to play as, I'm leaning mainly towards a nomad, because I like the idea of being like an outlaw in the wasteland, coming into this, cyber metropolis and making it my bitch. I'm coming into that town. Night City's gonna be mine. Yeah. Corpo is probably my bottom at the moment, just because. There is something quite interesting about playing as like a super corrupt corporate person, role playing Andrew Wilson, if you will, Wilson. But I don't know. I feel like gameplay wise, it doesn't line up with how I intend to like play as a play style.
Maybe the second playthrough then. I think for me, I don't really want to get excited about the game now, so I avoid this type of stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
At a certain point, I'm going to have to learn a lot about the world and about how these like factions and that work together, and I'm not really digesting any of that right now, because A, for having no time to do that, and B, I don't really want to get too excited about the game now. When it's ready, when it's good to go, I'll learn all that stuff. But I'm not the kind of guy to, and I want to experience it kind of fresh as well. I don't want to be spoiled too much about what's in store. I guess some people think it's spoilers, other people will think it's just like building anticipation. But I'd rather just go into it not knowing anything. I'd rather go like that. That's why I hate trailers. I don't really like trailers for movies and that, because you've seen all the best bits. What's the point in that? Anyway, thanks for the question.
I get it.
Excuse me,
is it me now?
Yes.
Okay, this is from Tons. So with all this heavy RPG talk in the last weeks, I have a question. What do you prefer, that the protagonist is a blank slate for you to fill in, so like Elder Scrolls, or a protagonist who already has a certain history and backstory, like Mass Effect or The Witcher? Again, 9 times out of 10, I prefer to have a protagonist like Mass Effect's Shepard or The Witcher's Geralt, because it's a person who you can then tweak to be how you like, but they're like a specific figure in a specific kind of place in time, mainly because I think largely the story written around that is better, because writing a story where you can be anyone is really, really difficult, because you've got to consider all these different permutations and everything. Whereas if you focus it just a little bit, give him a name and a few things of backstory, and normally, like in Mass Effect, you can change where you're born and that sort of thing, like your attitude. Those sort of things allow you to kind of the writers to focus in just a little bit more and craft a better story on the whole. Generally, I think that's the case.
Yeah. I see what you're saying with the story. I 100% want a blank slate. I 100% like the way that the Elder Scrolls series does it or Fallout even. Like, you build your backstory before you go in. So you tell the story of how the character got to this point by choosing like charisma points, or choosing the upbringing and what his parents did and what you did as. I think the best system I've seen recently was the Mount and Blade Bannerlord one, where you choose what you did at each stage of your life, and that all brings you to all the skills and the stats that you've got as the character before, just as you set out. And I love that, because there's a certain desire to go back and do that again. What if I chose to be like a carpenter's son, and then I interned as a blacksmith, and like what skills could I have starting the game there? I just love that sandbox element where you can just do what you like and be who you want in this world. I mean, not that I dislike The Witcher or Mass Effect characters like that. I much prefer choosing my own backstory. There we go.
Fair enough. Two different reasons.
Well, that's good. Like, I mean, it just shows that there are a lot of different ways to approach it.
And again, that's not to say that I don't like the Elder Scrolls way of doing it, where it is a complete blank slate. I just think the story as a whole, in my experience, in my opinion, generally is better if it's slightly more focused. But still a great game for a different reason.
There you go. Next up, it is it you two? Oh, me
yeah, it's this one for you, that you've got highlighted.
Okay, Cloney, again, this is his last question of the week. Over the course of your career as a gamer, my gaming career, what game did you throw in the corner to never touch again? Oh, this is easy. Easy. Games qualify if you just rage quit after a particularly bad game and never touch the game again. Or in the case of Card or Battlefield or something similar, the Entire series. Or if you finished the story just for completionist's sake and then destroyed the disc to be sure to never attempt again. Easy for me. Neo and Sekiro. Those two games that I actually went back the first time with Neo. I rage quit. I was like, you fucking bitch. How the fuck could you kill me? I'm fucking pissed off. And then 24 hours later, I even went back to it and then tried it again. And then it was like, I've had enough now. I've had enough. I promised myself I'd never play it again, and I haven't. And then I had the same kind of feeling from Sekiro, and it was like, this is going to end up the same way. I'm going to be so angry with this game. I just need to stop playing it. I'm not enjoying it. So yeah, those are the two easy answers.
Well, when it comes to like rage quitting games, I'm quite tenacious when it comes to that sort of stuff, and if I'm playing a game, I have every intention to play it end to end. So I very rarely like rage quit out. If I stop playing it, it's probably because it's fizzled out. See, this is what I was going to say.
Did you play Sekiro?
I don't play games like
that. Did you play Dark Souls?
Neo or Sekiro or Dark Souls, because I know I'm not going to enjoy it, because it's just not the kind of thing I like. We spoke about many times. We're not generally FromSoft fans. Well, I did play Bloodborne because it was free on the PS Plus store. Played Bloodborne, finished that. Overall, great game in a lot of respects. Very, very well made. But it's not for me. I didn't find it particularly fun. But I forced myself to finish it, despite that last boss fight fucking cancelling because my internet connection dropped out, which was total bullshit, and I nearly did it my second attempt. I nearly slayed his ass, and it took me like another hour to kill him. And because I'm a completionist, I played it in the way that's not actually the final boss. There's actually another hidden final boss after that. Fuck knows what the ending I got was. No one knows anything about what Bloodborne really means, and if you think you do, you're a liar. FromSoft don't fucking know what they do. It's weird, and I understand that's part of the appeal, but it's not for me. But in terms of a game that I've sworn off, I wouldn't rage quit's probably the wrong way to put it. I've sworn off like your Call of Duties and whatnot. I don't know if I've ever actually bought one. I've had them like bought for me, or I've borrowed friends' copies or whatever. But I'm not buying into that. They're the same game over and over again. I mean, you all know this. I'm preaching to the fucking choir here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We've got 2 questions left. Marcus Hicks next.
Okay, this is me, I think. Okay, going to have another go at this question. What would a game franchise/development studio have to do in order to lure you into paying for an early access version of a game? Specifically, a single-player narrative game, but could apply to non-live service games. So not a live service, just a proper game, a game that you buy and you've got it once it's out, but early access stuff. I've never... Well, because early access is more of like a Steam thing and a PC thing. It's not something I've ever really engaged with.
Oh, really?
But it's not something... I mean, I think I'm quite patient, so I feel like I'd be willing to just wait. Wait until it's good to go. I mean, maybe if it was like my dream game, like this Star Wars one I touched on earlier about being a scoundrel in the arsehole of the galaxy, maybe. But even there, I don't know.
I mean, a couple of examples, right? The first one was Mount & Blade Bannerlord. As soon as that was released in early access, I jumped onto it because I loved the original so much, and I've played it to a certain point. So I'm going to have 2 good goes at this game. I'm going to have a go right now this year when it was released into early access, and then I'll just leave it now forever until it goes ready, it goes gold or whatever, and then I'll play it again. So in that way, it's good. I knew what I was getting from this game because I played the game in the past, and I want to support the franchise and the studio. The other one, which I've just seen a trailer from today, which was The Darkest Dungeon 2. So that's coming into early access next year, and I'm really interested in that because I had so much fun. It's one of my favourite indie games. So much fun with that original. It was like a story kind of trailer thing. It wasn't much gameplay or anything, so I'm no idea what to expect. But I'd probably jump into that early access and do the same again. I've done that a few times now, and I've been burnt by early access in the past where they've never completed, and I've just bought a half-broken game, and it was a waste of money. But also, there've been a bunch of projects that have really realised their vision and used the early access really, really well. So I don't know. From I'll always support a development studio I've got a good track record with who have done me good in the past. So that's my criteria now. I think I rarely ever go for early access games unless it's got a really interesting mechanic. I only ever go with reputable companies.
I mean, there's so many games that launch buggy as hell these days. An argument could be made that they're in early access right now, like Marvel's Avengers. Fortunately, I got the review code, so I didn't have to pay for it, but I've been playing that in what is basically early access because of all the fucking bugs.
All the bullshit. Okay, last question is Metal Shark's question. Having a week off from the quiz due to work, so a simple question this week. Which gaming title or franchise would you least like to find a character sharing your name and likeness? Henry Cooper. Which game would you hate to see Henry Cooper in?
Oh, I don't know. That's an odd one. What would I... Well, I guess surely it's in the game that you hate most, right? I think it's probably easier to say what I would like rather than what I wouldn't like. Being someone in like a shitty Call of Duty or something would be pretty gross.
Well,
especially
go with what you do like. Go with what you do like, and then let's just flip that to the opposite. So why would you like your name in a game?
Well, I suppose one I would like in a game I don't like because I think it would be funny. I think it would be funny if I was a monster or some like horrific nightmare creature in like a FromSoft game. Some really unpleasant
just to piss
looking
people off.
Yeah, some really horrific looking boss. But because I'm a wimp, it's actually really fucking easy, especially in comparison to the rest of them. I think that'd be really funny. Just like some gangly creature, like the Thing from The Thing, but with like my face kind of protruding out. Probably really low res and pixely as well. I think can make it look even better.
I would be honoured. I would be honoured to be any game. I would not.
I can't see myself.
If I'm in any game, I'd be like, yeah, that's cool. I don't care that I might be portrayed in a bad way. I'm in the fucking game, man. I rock. I'm in a game. I've made it. I would never be negative towards that.
I mean, I guess if they steal my likeness, then
Oh yeah,
I'll
yeah,
be
that's a
pissed
bad
off about
reason.
that. But I
pay me some money, bitches.
Would I really be annoyed? Yeah, I don't think I'd be that annoyed if they are. If Call of Duty or FIFA
NBA
asked me,
2K. I'm going to say NBA 2K. I'd hate doing that game because I'm associated with a lot of bullshit.
Put me in the background as one of the crowd people. I'll try and track down a developer, the person who animates that. I mean, it can't be that much of a important job because normally the crowd animation's fucking awful. I'll try and have a word. I'll bribe them to not only put my face on this character, but just be doing this, following the ball.
I mean, I'd hate to be like a player in that game or whatever. So these dipshits who end up buying that game every year get to play as me. I wouldn't mind being on one of the adverts, like our YouTube channel promoted on the advert. That'd be pretty cool. Or the guitar lessons. They could be they can put me in that. That'd be cool.
I'll be one of the purchasable with real money operatives in fucking Watch Dogs Legion. You can buy me. My unique abilities are shit.
Everyone's got their price, Henry.
But I'm gonna cost 50 quid. I get no good abilities, no good passive effects, shit cosmetics. Because fucking look at me. And that'll be it. That'll be my proudest moment.
That would be actually fun. That would be fun to play as yourself.
Just
in a game with no abilities at all.
Yeah, you can't run, you can't shoot, you can't climb.
But you can play Quidditch. You can play Quidditch quite well.
I certainly wouldn't even go that fucking far, to be honest.
There you go. Special powers. Well, I can fling
you can moan at people. You can complain about stuff on the internet.
Catch the golden snitch, whatever. Right, let's move on. The next segment is the highly anticipated Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week. Are you ready, Henry? Are you ready? Now, this is a Ubisoft fanboy, and this was caught by the profanity filters, so
that should be good.
Brace yourself. Okay, Ubisoft monetizing their core mechanic. Okay, and that was the video, and this is what was said. Crumbling Data says, "It's really sad that none of can fucking read." Ubisoft stated that it's all cosmetic. This is one sentence. The whole thing's one sentence. "It's really sad that none of can fucking read." Ubisoft stated that it's all cosmetic. Only in any item and unique ability is already found in the game. God, you guys don't even know how to fucking read. Shut the fuck up and think before you open your stupid fucking mouth, all of you idiots. No punctuation at all.
Excellent. Well, that's a really good triggered fan. Like, we've had a few that are fanboys not so triggered, or they're triggered but not so fanboys.
Great.
That's triggered fanboy 101.
On the nose, man.
You're fucking right. So, his argument is that it's not... Yes, please do.
Okay, take a big breath. "It's really sad that none of can fucking read." Ubisoft stated that it's all cosmetic. Only in any item and unique ability is already found in the game. God, you guys don't even know how to fucking read. Shut the fuck up and think before you open your stupid fucking mouth, all of you idiots.
Okay, darling. Let's wind it back.
I'll post it in this document here.
Oh,
so you
excellent.
can see it.
Sit down, get a drink, get a bev, and let's talk about the crumbling data, your crumbling fucking sanity. There really is zero punctuation in there, is there? Jesus.
There's no sense in it either.
Well, it's not cosmetic only. You can buy cosmetics outright. Yeah, there's like skins and shit, cool, whatever. Still shit, but everyone, it's cosmetic only. All right, whatever. If you can buy operatives, the characters in the game you recruit. It's this entire mechanic is you find people on the street, be like, you're a builder, which means you can get into building sites without getting in trouble, and you've also got a nail gun. That's cool. A business person won't have that. He'll have his own stuff like a sports car. So they have gameplay features. These operatives that you can buy with real money, I think they called it WD credits, which is a brilliant name for your premium fucking currency. You can buy operatives outright. So you can find a person who has the same skill set as the builder, someone who's got the nail gun and the privileged access to building sites, so you don't get alerted straight away. You can buy that already. That's not cosmetic. Just because those abilities are shared with someone else in the game doesn't mean that it's cosmetic. It's not like you buy the operative and they just look a certain way, and then you can apply the abilities as you want that you've already unlocked in the main game. Because I think you can collect certain abilities and put them on other people, like a cloaking device you can give to other people or some shit. When you buy a character, they come like pre-built with these prerequisite abilities and traits and weapons. That's all gameplay affecting stuff. It's not that they're not a blank slate that you then change afterwards. You are paying for gameplay stuff. Yes, you can find it in the world, but you can skip all that by just paying for it. You are paying for gameplay altering shit. You're more fool you if you fucking do it, because that's literally the core mechanic of the game. You're meant to recruit people, so instead of recruiting people, let's just fucking pay for it. I tried to find like a nice comparison of like what other game does this. It'd be like, what's the core mechanic of Call of Duty? I don't know, but that really is just shooting people. In Watch Dogs Legion, it's meant to be a little more than just shooting people. So it'd be like GTA, the core mechanic is shooting people, yes, but stealing cars. That's what a Grand Theft Auto is stealing a car. It's like saying the mechanic is, right, we need you to go there and steal that car and drive away from the police. But instead of actually doing that, you can just buy the car outright, and that's it. And that's old GTA as well, like not now where you can fucking play tennis and do everything in GTA.
This guy is obviously upset about your suggestion that you're attacking his game basically. It's really sad that none of you can fucking read. Okay, that's this first sentence.
Four F words in there.
None of you can fucking read. Well, you can't even fucking write, dipshit. Ubisoft stated that it's all cosmetic only. Okay, that's one thing. That's them saying one thing and it actually being another thing. That's them trying to justify the bullshit which they're actually trying to serve you. So it doesn't matter what they say. You've got to look at it with your own fucking eyes. Obviously, we can't read, but you can't fucking see. Okay, in any item and unique ability is already found in the game. That is true, but that is no justification. If everything is found in game, that doesn't mean that it's right to sell all parts of the game. It doesn't mean that. Yeah, it's all earnable in game. That's what you're saying. It's all earnable in game. Well, why the fuck have it in the first place? If it's not a problem, the problem is they're going to balance the game around incentivizing you to buy them, which means it's a worse experience if you're not buying. That's exactly how they incentivize these purchases, these sales. They make your game shitter and they solve you the solution. That's how it works. You're a dipshit. The next one, God, you guys don't even know how to fucking read. That's the second time you've said that, dude. You don't even know what you said 5 seconds ago. So your brain is obviously not functioning. Shut the fuck up and think before you open your stupid fucking mouths, all of you idiots. So you've thought that through? You've thought that? You're saying that we should think before we talk, but you've obviously just spewed a load of garbage and not thought about any of those words. You're just reconstituting things that other people say to justify this bullshit, not thought about any of it yourself, just so you can feel better about buying the game in the first place. That is the epitome of hypocrisy. I'm sorry, you are the dumb dipshit triggered fanboy comment of the week, and oh my god, we haven't had one this good in so long. I'm so glad you did that video, Henry.
I mean, it did reasonably well as well. So and it was very like easy. You know, sometimes there's a bit of barriers for a daily triple because I'm trying to find like 3 things to put together. But this one, it started as a one segment of a triple, but they just rolled out real nice. Everything flowed. It all fell together. The puzzle pieces landed. But of course, you never get any fucking credit when you beat everyone else to the story. No one else was really reporting on this. But then if I talk about something else like, old news.
So late. God, boring channel. I was all you do is watch other YouTubers and then make videos on the same. Come on, man.
It never bothers me because I'm like, well, you missed all the times I fucking got there first, but whatever.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to more comments. Have you got any nice comments or any other interesting comments this week that weren't quite as triggered?
This is it's kind of a nice one. This is kind of funny. On last week's podcast from Jason Beneke. Wow, the unwarranted hate for Hades continues. First, Henry was telling us how much he despised the game, and now Gaz has hopped on the bandwagon. When will the persecution of this game end, I ask? And he's got one of the little side smile emojis because he's quite clearly being sarcastic. And I just thought that was quite funny because we've gushed over Hades in 2 podcasts in a row. Yeah. So how you finding Hades, man? Like, how much do you love it now? You're gonna keep going, just keep gushing over the fucking game.
Okay, I've got another comment on the Ubisoft one. Tina Hayes says, bruh, just don't fucking buy the characters then. You're acting like some bitches. ONG. ONG. ONG? What even is that?
Oh no, God? Oh, no, God.
Oh, no, God.
Look at this motherfucker.
Just don't buy the things then. We won't fucking buy... I won't even buy the fucking game then. Like, there's my option. It's all optional. I'll take the option to not buy the fucking game. How about that? Shithead. Tina bullshit. Anyway. I'm getting so angry today. I don't know. It's all coming out.
It's natural. It's healthy, man.
It is, cathartic.
So it's not particularly a funny comment, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's probably my favourite story for this week, and there's two, both from Patreon members, which is always nice. Beech Horn, you might also know as Metal Shark. Love the cats in Mario Kart. This is the kind of coverage I can show the other half. And then from Tony Solomon, who I believe is Tons. Henry, I like to terrorise cats with Mario Kart. Cooper, love it. And this is because it's such a great story. Mario Kart, what they call it, Home Circuit Live, is augmented reality Switch Mario Kart game where you can drive it, but it drives around the real world with a real remote control car. And I think it was on Monday. The final story was about these cats, people driving the remote control cars in their homes, and cats just not having any of it. I just thought it was really funny. It was adorable. Some were like attacking them, getting really like aggressive about it. Others were very content just to watch and be like, oh, that's interesting, very aloof like cats often are. And some were fucking terrified. Some were just like, nope, I'm getting away from that shit. And I just thought it was fun. And this is a chance to recommend everyone to stay and watch that, because it's the last segment. Most people don't pay attention to that. They're already gone after the first one. But watch it anyway, because it's really great. It's adorable.
Yeah. Okay. Another one on the Ubisoft one, which is a little bit better. VMAX says, most hacking part of gameplay will be hacking or pirating the game itself. So yeah, that's art coming to real life. What's the expression? Art mimicking real life, isn't it? Where people hacking the game so that they can make it free for pirates. So
well, and the game itself, from all of the trailers and whatnot, and the way they seem to be marketing the story, it's very like anti-corporate, anti-capitalist, fuck the system, we're going to rebel. And it's like, well, you're one of the most capitalistic corporate companies
so out of touch,
world.
Isn't it? So out of touch.
I don't know, man. They just don't seem to. They don't get it. The penny hasn't quite dropped for Egamo quite yet.
Yeah. Any more?
Okay, I've got another one which I just thought was a little bit funny. It's on the Ubisoft thing. Wait until the gold edition is on sale for less than $20, then still not buy it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Well, and if you do want to try it, just buy it like second hand or something. Then that way you don't get any money.
As much as I'm interested in the premise of this game, and I've tried it. I've had hands on with it in the Ubisoft like streaming event that they did for YouTubers and that. It seems like a good. I'm still a little bit undecided. Even if I was really super positive towards this game, at the moment that they announced that they've got all this shit in it and this additional monetization, again, it's the thing that clicks into me. I'm like, I'm not willing to support this greedy fucking company. I'm not. I don't care how much I like the game. I'm not willing to support this greed in the industry, and I'm going to vote with my feet, vote with my wallet, and just not buy into this additional. Like, why would you buy a product that just gives you access to buy more products? In what other world is that acceptable, right? You buy something in order to go to a shop to buy other things. You buy entry to a store. Like, what the fuck? I know they do it. They exploit people in like theme parks and shit like that, where you can buy a fast pass because you're going to be really slow. I know you've bought like £200 worth of tickets, but you're going to be really slow if you just have the basic. So they're trying to upsell you the whole time, and it's just greed. They don't need this money. They're big corporations. They can do without it, and I'm not supporting that. The moment that they announce that shit, I'm out. I am out, which is why I love the way that CDPR do stuff, and which is why I give them a lot of credit.
That's it, man. Like, you've summed it up well for like your fourth rant of the day.
I don't care. I don't care that it doesn't affect my gameplay. I do not care. What I care about is that I'm not supporting this greed. I'm voting with my feet. I don't want this. This is not how I want the industry to be. This is not the part of the industry I'm going to support. I'm going to go somewhere else. Okay. Do you have any more?
I don't really have any more. I could probably go digging for one, but I haven't got any that are jumping out.
Okay. Let me read one. Okay. This is a bit of a can of worms. Hopefully we can get through this quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Gordon on last week's podcast talking about the Sony thing, right? Where Sony are listening in. Reporting toxic chats, social media harassment. That's the cool new one I found. Man, I get it. But damn it, if this new generation are just a bunch of crybabies, I think it's important for kids to know how to deal with cunts without losing their shit in the process. The world is gonna live in the world they're going to live in is full of them. Censoring everyone doesn't fix the problem. Everybody on the internet, everyone is a potential arsehole. That's something we all knew. Apparently the kids nowadays can't deal with that. I mean, I don't know, just my opinion. I'm just from a different generation. I get that way of thinking, right? But the way to teach your kids is not by allowing them to freely be exposed to this, to anybody who wants to talk shit, call them cunts or whatever, without you having to be there the whole time to supervise, because a lot of these situations happen a lot of the time when they're maybe if they're on the internet. And we did mention before also, I think you're missing the fact that this is just party chats as well. It's not like a bunch of randos, to my understanding. I don't know, maybe you can record a bunch of randos, but all the same, you don't want to, just because the world out there is fucking shitty, it doesn't mean that they should always be exposed to it. You should protect your kids from being exposed to it as much as possible, and that isn't a reason to just expose them to all the worst things in the world just because there are bad things in the world. That's just bad parenting.
Yeah, it's like the world's shit out there. Get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, watch me chop this cat up. You know, you're a pet. Let me chop it up, just so you know what the world's like.
He's going to die one day.
I'm just doing you a favour because the world out there is shit. Now watch as the cat squeals to death. You know, that's not how you. That's not how you.
Yeah, I don't feel like exposing people like that actually helps. I mean, you need to teach them why it's like that and how you can make it better, because you should be striving to try and make the world better, not just accept it for how shit it is. But the whole thing with that party chat, I'm still on like the belief that it's fine. There was a few sort of conspiracy type comments being like, oh, but if they can record this, they can record everything. But I'm like, what will they get on you from a recorded party chat of you saying a rude word or the N-word or something? What are they going to get from you from that they haven't already got? I mean, you have to sign up with all your different email addresses and passwords and accounts and this and that. What have they got that the internet hasn't already? Like, realistically,
well, if you mention that you're going to break the local lockdown rules over in party chat, well, then Sony can go to the government and tell them that you're going to break the lockdown rules, and they can fine you 60 quid. So, oh my God, let's this is a breach of our civil liberties. We can't allow them to do this. If we want to talk about breaking COVID rules, then we should be allowed to in privacy. Damn it.
Well, then don't talk about it with your friend's hypothetical man who's angry on the internet, like, because it's party chat. You've got to be on a party. And back to the guy talking about snowflakes. Like, if you're worried about snowflakes, that's like their problem, because they'll presumably the younger people. I assume you mean when you mean snowflakes, because I see a lot of older people who are fucking snowflakes, who get annoyed about everything just like a snowflake would. It's with their friends. It's in party chat. So what if you're not a snowflake? Awesome, good for you, but you should have nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? Just
stay off the internet and play your games. Like, don't play online games. That simple. If you're that scared about, don't go online. If you're scared about people stealing your shit, stealing your identity, whatever,
it's too late.
Don't go online. It's too late, man. Just get off the internet. Go and live on the mountain outside of the signal.
It's the only way to be safe. And even
the only way to get off the grid, man. Get off the grid. Anyway. That is it for questions, comments this week. Let's go on to the bad dad joke of the week. All right, Henry. When I was a kid, my mother told me I could be anyone I wanted to be. It turns out identity theft is a crime. I mean, I'm only reading the ones with the happy smiley face emojis. So it's the people who are reacting to these on the Discord who are to blame for these bad ones. After dinner, my wife asked if I could clear the table. I needed a running start, but I made it.
Nice.
My dad died when we couldn't remember his blood type. As he died, he kept insisting, "Be positive," but it's hard without him.
I feel like your blood type is something you should just know. I have no fucking idea what my blood type is. I should find it out really, but I have no idea.
And I think that's it. That's your 3 dad jokes of the week, and that is the podcast for this week. Like I said, next week Henry is on vacation, if you're American, or on a staycation, on holiday. So also no podcast next week. So we will be back the week after, and Henry will be back when he's back. God damn it, give him a rest. And then thanks for watching. Like I said, listen to us on Spotify and iTunes now too. Links in the description. Support us on patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, as well as YouTube memberships. Go and watch us on Odyssey and Utreon. And that is it. Thanks everybody for watching. On behalf of Henry and myself, we will see you again in the next one. Until then, bye for now.